Hello, my sewing friends. I'm Jen, and this is Sewing on a Shoestring 3.0, where I go to Dollar Tree and I find all kinds of things that you and I can use in our sewing room. I'm going to start out with these. These are door stops. What in the wide world do you need door stops for? Well, back in the 1990s, I read something. I think I probably saw it somebody. You can take these and slide them under the base of your machine and it will gently tilt it towards you. About that much of an angle. And the difference between sewing like this and sewing like this is huge. Makes a big difference in our posture, the way we sit at our machines. And it's just generally a great idea. I don't know who thought of it, but kudos to them because it's a really good idea. So yeah, keep that in your arsenal. Also in the hardware section, I found this little toolbox. This is $1.25. This is not fancy. This is not a tackle box with shelves and all kinds of things inside. It's just empty inside, but it does have a little handle. And I'm thinking, when you go to a social event, you might want to take your machine and, maybe it's an event where you're going to be sewing and you need to bring all your stuff, not just your machine. This is a great way to do it. Like I say, it's not fancy. It's plastic, but it'll do the job. So, and seriously, $1.25. Gotta love that. Next, from the crafting section, I found pliers. Use them for anything you need pliers for. They're small, they fit in your hand really nicely. If you're recovering a chair, let's say, and it's got staples all around, this is great. Pull those out. These would be great for us. Even if you just wanted to keep them in your kitchen, to be honest. This is invaluable. A magnifying glass. Look how big that is. That's just so nice. We need this around our house all the time because my husband and I can't see. He can see better than I can, and I can't see anything. I do have one of those lights. It's got a light, and it's magnifying. So I use that, but to be honest, there are times when I'm trying to, usually what I do it for is when I have to tear out stitches because I can put my glasses on and then use that and I can see. But to be honest, that's a pain because as soon as I look up, my eyes go out of focus and I have to refocus them, like do this when I look through it. This would alleviate that a lot. So that's because I'd be able to see. Just hold it up and then, I don't have to refocus my eyes when I put it down and then bring it up to my eyes again. So anyway, it's huge, it's smart, it's basic, it's a magnifying glass. Binder clips. Do I need to say more? Are these not the universal useful thing that everyone should have in their house? Actually, I keep them in my bedroom. These are great, especially if you have cords from things that you have plugged in on a table with your sewing machine, your serger, a light, fan, whatever you have, and it's all plugged into a power strip. You can corral those cords with these. And man, anytime you need to clamp two things together, say you have printed off instructions for an indie pattern, you just want to keep them together. There you go. Multi-purpose adhesive spray. It was $1.25. It's not a very big bottle, but it's glue. It's just spray glue. This says it works on paper, wood, cardboard, and more. And I read the back, and it does not say not appropriate for or do not use on. It's non-toxic. You know what I use these for? Book sleeves, because I have to attach foam to fabric. The fabric has to go over the foam, and this is a great way to hold it together. So spray glue. Teeny tiny 3-pack of composition books. Yeah, you're probably looking at me and going, why would I need that? Okay, well, I'll tell you, because I have this and I have another little book, and I don't know where it's gotten to because I've revamped my sewing room so much, but this, it's just got paper in it that I can write on. I do that all the time. If I am, I was doing it the other day where I had to figure out some kind of calculations. I was, sometimes it's just too much trouble to go looking for my phone and pulling up the calculator. And I probably could ask Alexa if I wanted to, but sometimes I've got a book playing and I don't want to interrupt. So really, really a nice little thing to have around. And, I have no qualms about just pulling the pages out. The ones I got in my other little book are graph paper. Write it down and tear it out. And you got 3 little books there. So keep them near your machine, keep them in your desk, keep them over anywhere that you need to jot things down. Good thing to have. I'll be using these. I've talked about these before, but I found this little set. These are Crayola Ultra Clean Washable Large Crayons. So they're washable. And you only get 5 colors. That's really all you need, isn't it? If you're going to mark something on a pattern on a piece of fabric, if you need to mark a notch or a dot or something like that, and these don't want to come out. There we go. So you've got red, orange, blue, yellow, and green. I actually have some marking chalk that comes in all these same colors. So make sure that whatever it is you're marking these will wash out. So just go to your sink with a scrap and try it. And if it washes out, you're good. And you always want to do that because you don't want to mark on something and then have crayon all over it. But they do say washable, and it's Crayola. So it's a good crayon brand. Mechanical pencils. Don't always want to use a permanent marker to trace something off, like a pattern piece. Mechanical pencils. And you know what? You don't have to sharpen them. How great is that? Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. You get 8. Pretty decent, huh? Yeah, good to have around. Okay, speaking of having to go get my phone so I can use a calculator. Old school. Going old school here. But man, look at the size of this thing. Let's just open this baby up. Wow. You even get an instruction sheet. But look how big. Which is great for me because I can't see. There we go. 2 plus 2 equals 4. It works. It does the job. Obviously we do all have our phones, and all of our phones have calculators. But in the case that you don't have your phone, it's charging and you don't want to get it off the charger to bring it in to where you're sewing, or you don't have Alexa or something similar. This is just nice to have, backup, old school backup. You can't beat it. Shipping labels. Now I have this clipped, binder clips. I have this clipped to one of my pattern envelopes. Let me grab one. I take the envelope and I put it in a binder and make my own little pattern catalog. And the insides, the tissue and the instructions, I put in one of these. That's what this is. This is one that I've reused because I don't get rid of them when I destash the patterns. I always keep these envelopes. And what I do is, I don't know if you can see this, but see how I put a shipping label over top of whatever was written under here? And you can kind of see where I did it there because you can see where I wrote on it. But I would much rather do that than scratch out the number and then write the new number. And these are great for that. You get 20, and they say they're 4 by 6 inches. So and I would slice them in half and possibly half again into quarters to use. And then you just peel the sticking off the back and put them on. Really handy, especially if you store your patterns the way that I do. One thing I found were these. These are project envelopes, and I cannot recommend these. If you see these, I would pass, because you can on Amazon get about like 14 of these for about $10. And these have double zippers. And inside this right now are small pieces of interfacing that I hate to waste interfacing. So I have these hanging on a hook over by my iron, and I just hang it up like that. This is a much better deal also because it's a much better material that's made out of than this. This is going to tear in a hurry. If you are only storing paper, for example, if you have an indie pattern that you've folded up and you want to put in here, then I'd say, okay, but I just don't think it's as good a deal as this is. So I would pass on this, and I would get some of these, and those are linked in my description box down below under the tools that I use. Spray bottle. Who doesn't need a spray bottle? Water, your own cornstarch, and water, which you can shake up, and that's starch. Anything you need to put in here will work. If you need water and vinegar, if you just want to put cleaning solution in it and clean around your sewing room, this is so nice to have. I have one over there, and it's got, I think it's just water in it. But I have made my own starch before. And, you know, all you do is take cornstarch and put it in a bottle and put water in it and shake it up, really. So I just think this is handy. And for $1.25, you know, not a bad deal. If you stop using it in your sewing room, you can use it in your kitchen or your bathroom or whatever. SureFresh zipper bags. But these are snack size bags, and you get 40. These are the tiny little bags that you get to put, I don't know, cookies and stuff like that in. They're this big. And what I use these for is buttons and anything else that's small that I want to corral. You could put packs of machine needles in this. You could put bobbins in these. You could put packs of hand sewing needles in these. You could put snaps in here. You can use these in all manner of ways. You're never going to use up 40 bags. I can probably guarantee you, unless you have as many buttons as I do. Clorox clothespins with no slip grip. Okay, these are fantastic for whatever you need to clamp together. If you have something big and long and you need to run it through your serger and you do not want to use pins, there you go. The thing about these is that they're not going to slip. They are going to grab onto whatever it is you are trying to grab onto. For example, I have this pair of pants that I just finished. Okay, I'm putting there. Okay, I am pulling on this, and I would have to pull pretty hard to get it to come apart. So it's got that grip on it. You know, another thing I would use these for, and I have used this kind of thing for, is for a little things that you put on a bin or on a shelf or a box where you want to put a little indicator of what it is in there. So take a piece of paper and write it on there and then clip it to your container. And there you go. Drawer liner. This stuff I have used for years, and I use it under my serger, because you know how your serger is going to walk. Anytime you use it, it walks all over the place. Put this underneath, it's going nowhere. Nowhere. Same with your sewing machine if you know it moves. This stuff is so great, and this is the plastic honeycomb kind of stuff. You know what this is. This is the kind that I don't use in my kitchen cabinets because I can't slide things out. Nothing slides on this. And that drives me crazy. I don't know who would put these in their cabinets and then, you know, I mean, I have bowls and I need to get out. Anyway, your serger is going nowhere with this. Neither is your sewing machine. So anything that you want to stay put, here you go. This is the stuff. Also helpful when you don't want things to move, of all things, a sink mat. I saw this and I thought, oh my gosh, that would work underneath. I'm thinking serger because it's, you know, that size. But I wouldn't even use it like this, like you would in your sink. I would use it upside down because this right here, this gray, is it's like a non-slide kind of thing. I think this is a great way to stabilize your serger so it doesn't go walking across your table. And then we've got a storage container. These, I think probably people use these all over their houses. Open this baby up. There we go. This is, it's plastic. Okay, here we go. It's got a little handle. It doesn't have a piece of cardboard at the bottom, I don't think. No, we didn't get cardboard at the bottom, but you can put stuff in it and it will hold it and corral it and look great in your sewing room. So it has a wire frame here, and that's what's going to make it not close in on itself. But, you know, storage. It's storage. You can put patterns in here. You could put fabric in here. You could put this on your table and store all kinds of things that you need. And by that, I mean things like patterns and little notes, a pen, a ruler. See how all this fits in here? I would probably, if I did not have a dedicated place to put my patterns, I think this would be a very, very good option. So $1.25. Then I've got this little thing. This is just a little container. It doesn't even say, it's a scalloped container, and it's got candy on it. Okay, well, you know, not a bad idea to put Hershey's Kisses in here because Hershey's Kisses, but it's tall enough that you can put pens, markers, seam gauges, thread. You could put thread. Okay, we all know that the possibilities are endless of the things that you could put in there. I would probably use this to put tall things in. You could put some florist foam in the bottom and stick your pens and other things in it like that, pencils, like your pencils. Yeah, your mechanical pencils. Anyway, so just a nice little thing to have, and it's kind of pretty. And it doesn't just come in this blue, it comes in other colors too. A little expandable container. So if you are storing things and you only have this big of a thing and you want to put things in it because you don't want them all flopping around, you can do that. Or you can expand it. Oh, I'm going to put those somewhere else. Now I need somewhere to put pens and pencils and markers and that sort of thing. Now, got a little place to do it. If you have a desk near where you sew, here you go. I just think that's genius. That's so nice because it will take up either less space or it will take up the amount of space that you need to hold whatever you need to have. These are great. These, I would have gotten these and used them if I had been able to. I have drawers underneath my sewing machine table, but the drawers are only like 1.5 inches deep. So these are a little too deep for that. But this is just those matching little drawer organizers. Let's see if I can, sounds like a gunshot. These are just wonderful in a drawer where you want to separate the stuff that's in the drawer. So we've got a small thing. What can we put in there? We can put some buttons in there. We can put some machine needles in that one. And this one we can put, what can we put in there? Hand needles, you know, or 2 little spools of thread, or 3 or 5. And then we've got this size. Since we've already used this for something, now we can use this size for all our marking tools. And this, we can actually line up spools of thread. See, I just organized your drawers for you. Isn't that fantastic? I love these things. I just think, and oh, and these interlock. How great is that? You've got a little, see, a little edge on there, and you just do that. And now they don't come apart. How great is that? So even if you don't use these in your sewing room, they're great for your house. This is an exfoliating bath cloth, and I had to try this out. I really did. It's just a washcloth. That's all it is, and it's got netting here. And I wanted to know if I could use it as a pressing cloth. This is a microfiber washcloth, and this is just mesh. I have some mesh pressing cloths, and I like this better because it's got the microfiber under it. But I used a hot iron on this as a pressing cloth, and it worked. And I was really, really impressed that the whole mesh part did not disintegrate. I thought, okay, your iron would have to be as hot as the surface of the sun to melt this. So I just think that's a great idea. And it has a little loop on it so you can hang it up, you know, over by your iron. What a great idea. $1.25. Health and beauty. It's amazing the stuff you can find in there. Something I didn't know about for the longest time. This came from the party section, and it is slap bracelets. Okay, why would I need slap bracelets, you ask? I will show you. It's because I have lots of rolls of paper. Well, maybe not lots, 3 or 4 rolls of paper. And I don't like to put rubber bands on them to hold them because they'll tear. But this will not. This, I wonder if I can just slap it. Ah, it worked. Oh, and I've even got 2 on here. Gosh, how many do you get here? It must be 6. You must get 2 of each one. Isn't that a great idea? There are 2 here, right? Yes, yes. You just got to get them apart. I just think that's so smart. Okay, let's do it again. Ready? That is so cool. Oh man, how many rolls of stuff do I have over there? I'm going to use them on all of those. That is just so cool. There we go. I don't know about you, but I am loaded up with all kinds of things that I can use in my sewing room. So let me know if you've used any of these sorts of things, and if you can think of another use for them, that would be great. That's it for now for me, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.